After the morning meeting, I casually pulled out my phone to text my long-distance internet girlfriend. Save me. The new female boss is terrifyingly beautiful. Right after hitting send, I kept my head down, fidgeting with my phone, when I suddenly felt a freezing gaze pierce right through me. Just as I was about to look up, a voice echoed clearly in my mind. Oh, my husband just unsent a message. Could it be he actually likes this new boss? Shocked, I snapped my head up. The new CEO, Elena, was standing there, her crimson lips lightly pursed as she composedly listened to a subordinate's report. I quickly typed to follow up. I want to get a tooth pulled yesterday. It hurts so much. Again, that sweet, velvety voice rang inside my head. My husband had a tooth pulled? Poor baby. I should send him some money to comfort him. I glanced down at my screen. A notification popped up. Transfer received. $100. When I realized that the person I had been dating for the past 6 months was my new boss, I wasn't afraid. But when I realized I could hear her inner thoughts, I was absolutely terrified. I bolted into the restroom, staring at the small fortune Elena had just sent me, not daring to even touch the screen. She messaged me, "Honey, what's wrong? Doesn't your tooth hurt? Take this and buy whatever you want. When we meet next week, I'll take you out for something delicious." With a heavy heart, I messaged back, "Let's break up. You have 2 more teeth than I do. We aren't compatible." Before she could reply, I ruthlessly deleted her contact. God help me. It's not that I don't like money, it's that I'm terrified of what her face will look like when she discovers the truth. I'll be completely obliterated. How could I be this unlucky? Out of the billions of people on the internet, I managed to date my own boss. She was a legendary ice queen, and I needed a vacation. Fast. The second I reached her office door, her heartbroken inner monologue flooded my brain. Why? Why did Ryan break up with me? Did I do something wrong? He said, I have 2 more teeth than him. Fine. I'll go get 2 teeth pulled out. Elena's mind was spiraling into madness, yet her face remained cold, elegant, and millions of miles away. I swallowed hard, more determined than ever to get my leave approved. Fortunately, she didn't seem to notice anything suspicious about me. In a foul mood, she reached for my leave application. As I stood before her desk, I heard her soul sighing. Did I make Ryan angry? But I haven't done anything. Where did I go wrong? Why won't he accept my friend request? I gulped nervously as I handed the paper to her. Elena didn't even look at me. She gripped the application and began to crumple it into a ball. Boss, please stop crumpling it. I'm scared. Oh, she said, her voice a frosty blade. My apologies. Elena's slender, porcelain hands moved with agonizing grace as she smoothed out the crumpled leave application. Her eyes remained fixed on the paper. You say you need medical leave. For what? I need surgery. 4 hemorrhoids. To secure the longest possible break, I had sacrificed my dignity on the altar of the most embarrassing ailment I could think of. She knit her brows, her expression unreadable, and waved me out. But as I turned to leave, her inner voice echoed in my skull. I'll call my assistant. I need to book an appointment to have 2 teeth pulled tomorrow. I felt a phantom tear sting my eye. Despite our breakup, half a year of digital affection still meant something. I couldn't let her mutilate her perfect smile. Later that night at a bar, I told my best friend everything. Well, almost everything. What? My friend shouted over the music. You're saying you heard, my aunt wants to pull her teeth because of some internet boyfriend? Hell no. I'm calling Grandma. My friend, Leo, didn't hesitate. He dialed the Liu family matriarch immediately, adding enough dramatic flair and salt and pepper to the story to make it sound like a life-and-death crisis. After hanging up, he clapped a hand on my shoulder. Back to you, Ryan. Why the hell aren't you going to work? I'm heartbroken. The short sentence stunned Leo into silence. Heartbroken? You've been the king of loners for 10,000 years. What a waste of a handsome face. I bristled, standing up. I just haven't met the right person yet. Leo rolled his eyes and scoffed. I was hurting, so I grabbed a glass and downed it. I hadn't intended to spill the real secret, but I'd forgotten that I'm a 1-glass wonder. 1 drink in and my filter vanished. I told him every detail. Leo slapped his forehead, laughing out of sheer frustration. You're incredible, Ryan. Your first relationship and you land my aunt? And then you unilaterally dump her. Because Because you kept calling me the king of loners. I stammered. Even a king deserves a spring romance, doesn't he? When I graduated, Leo had pulled me into his family's company. I've never been a man of grand ambitions. I just wanted a peaceful life leaning against the giant thigh of the Liu family fortune. My job was basically a paid vacation. I had turned a 6-day work week into a 1-day work week. And that one day, always Monday, the day Elena came in for the weekly meeting. She was the only one who actually followed through on docking my pay. My laziness had reached legendary levels, and the grumbling among my coworkers was turning into a roar. "You only got this job through the back door," a colleague hissed at me one afternoon. I didn't even look up from my game.
Wrong.
I walked through the front door with my head held high. "You're just trying to be a sugar baby for the boss," another sneered. In response, I simply flipped my phone around to show them the latest transfer from my internet girlfriend, exactly $5,200. The entire office went into a frenzy. One guy pointed a finger right at my nose, trembling with rage. "I knew it. I can't stand you. We're all supposed to be working class here. Why do you get to relax while we're stuck slaving away with overtime?" His shout ignited the simmering resentment of the entire room. I replied calmly, "I know you're frustrated, but let's not talk nonsense. I may be lazy, but I've never missed a deadline." With that, I slammed a month's worth of completed work reports onto the desk in front of them. Watching the group stumble over their words, I sat back down with a sense of pride and resumed my slacking. There was a secret to maintaining my lying flat persona. I worked like a demon in the middle of the night. I'd been like this since my student days. I called it the innate competitive instinct of the high IQ slacker. Because I had too much free time, I used to wander around social apps, which is how I ended up befriending a user with a pleasant avatar. We talked for a month and realized we were a perfect match. In her eyes, I was a naive, innocent undergraduate. Armed with my scattered knowledge, I discussed everything from classical literature to the philosophy of life with her. We had planned to meet. But then came that Monday meeting where I started hearing her thoughts. "So, you realized your e-girlfriend is my aunt and immediately chickened out with a leave of absence?" Leo asked. "Yeah," I admitted gloomily. While I was bold and confrontational in real life, my online persona was shy and submissive. Elena told me she loved my scholarly temperament, but she had no idea that off-camera, I was a menace. Leo patted my shoulder. "Don't sweat it. If you became my uncle-in-law, it would actually be great. I can't stand any of the stuck-up socialites my grandma tries to set her up with." I gave a bitter laugh. "It's not that I don't want to marry into money, Leo. It's that I don't dare to." I still remembered the early days of our online relationship. A colleague had cornered me in the break room and accidentally spilled coffee all over me, staining the brand new trousers she had sent me as a gift. "Oh, sorry." My hand slipped, Zhao said, his face twisted into a mocking sneer. "Don't worry, Zhao." Another chimed in. "Ryan's clothes probably didn't cost much anyway."
Exactly.
I looked closely. They're just knockoffs of a luxury brand. I cleaned the coffee off my pants, my heart aching for the ruined gift. Zhao continued his snide commentary until I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed an open packet of instant coffee from the counter and poured it directly onto his head. While his face turned purple with rage, I reached back, ripped the authentic designer tag off the collar of my shirt, and slapped it onto his forehead. "Are those two eyes under your brows just for breathing?" I snapped. Zhao pointed a trembling finger at me. Where did you get the money for luxury brands?" In truth, they had known for a long time that my clothes were real. They just relied on the fact that luxury items are harder to distinguish once the tags are removed to bully me. They were intentionally trying to make me suffer, thinking I wouldn't be able to argue back. But they underestimated me. I never removed the tags from my luxury items. How could I miss an opportunity to flex? "Is your house by the ocean? Because you sure are acting like a wide-reaching beach," I snapped. "All right, pay up and I'll drop it." Zhao shrugged dismissively. "I don't have any money. Besides, it wasn't on purpose." I took a deep breath and then screamed at the top of my lungs.
Help.
Workplace bullying. Grown men are bullying a handsome fresh grad. Zhao and his cronies panicked, lunging forward to cover my mouth. I nimbly ducked, dodging them as I bolted out of the break room, my voice never wavering. "Is anyone in charge? Help. Harassment. I don't have many outstanding virtues, but I do have one principle. Live life on your own terms. If you want to be comfortable, first, never let yourself swallow an injustice." As I sprinted out of the room, I slammed into something soft, like a plush cushion. Looking up, I was met with Elena's skeptical gaze. I swallowed hard. Who would have guessed she'd be at the office today? It wasn't even Monday. My manager scrambled to pull me away, offering a forced, laughing apology. A new employee who doesn't know the ropes yet. Please forgive him, boss. Before leaving, Elena dropped a cold warning, disrupting the company's image. Half a month's salary docked. Zhao stood nearby, grinning at my misfortune. I slumped onto my desk, looking utterly lifeless. Just as I was about to text my digital girlfriend to vent, she messaged me first. Ryan, don't wear those pants I gave you anymore. Today I saw someone wearing the exact same pair, and he looked like a total dork. Nothing like your handsome, dashing self. At the time, I didn't think twice about it. I washed the pants and never wore them again. But thinking back on it now, I broke into a cold sweat. Luckily, the selfies I sent her never showed my face. If Elena ever discovered that the boyfriend she praised as dashing was actually me, the total dork, I'd never be able to slack off in peace again. Depressed, I downed glass after glass at the bar, seriously considering just quitting for good. Seeing me in such a state, Leo didn't say a word. He just pulled out his phone and made a call. I thought he was calling a designated driver. I never expected that the person he called was the legendary Elena herself. When she appeared at the bar wearing a form-fitting dress that accentuated her seductive figure, I felt even more miserable. Leo waved her over. Auntie, my friend is wasted. Can you help me get him home? Elena replied calmly, her voice steady. You stop drinking too. I'll take you both back. Leo didn't hesitate for a second. He practically hurled me, still pretending to be passed out, straight into Elena's arms. The moment I collided with her, I felt her entire body stiffen. It was clear she was fighting every instinct to shove me off. To the world, she was a frost-bound goddess, but inside, she was a blushing mess of internal monologues. Ryan, my love, please forgive me. I'm only touching another man out of sheer necessity. You're the only one for me, forever. On the way back, Elena kept a firm, almost clinical grip on my arm. She projected an aura of polite disgust before finally stuffing me into the back seat. As soon as I was settled, she pulled out a bottle of sanitizer and obsessively sprayed her hands. This won't do. As soon as I get home, I need to douse myself in the perfume Ryan gave me. I need to make sure I smell like him and him alone. Hearing her thoughts, I stayed pinned to the leather seat, playing dead. Beside me, Leo started whispering, his voice a sharp hiss. Ryan, you bastard. Wake up and move. I brought my aunt here for a reason. Can't you just admit you're her internet boyfriend already? I stayed silent, doubling down on my fake slumber. Leo gritted his teeth and decided to drop a nuclear bomb. Auntie, Ryan actually has something he needs to tell you. The truth is... I'm not getting hemorrhoid surgery. I bolted upright, lunging to clap my hand over Leo's mouth while giving him a frantic, wide-eyed look. Under the bewildered stares of both Elena and Leo, the alcohol finally hit my system for real. My vision blurred, and I blacked out into a genuine faint. Auntie, help me out. I can't carry him by myself. When I drifted back toward consciousness, I felt Leo struggling to drag me toward my apartment. He had a handful of my collar and was dragging me across the pavement like a dead fish. I could practically feel the seat of my pants wearing through against the concrete. Elena was leaning against the car door, watching us. I kept my eyes squinted into tiny slits, straining to hear her inner voice. If this were my Ryan, I'd take him back to my place in a heartbeat. Her mind was a relentless whirlpool of thoughts, and without exception, every single one was about me. Seeing her walk toward us, I resumed my unconscious state. Let me, Elena said, helping me up while Leo trailed behind. Don't worry, brother, Leo whispered into my ear when Elena wasn't looking. I'll make sure you and my aunt get back together. The brat knew I was awake. I wanted to jump up and punch him. I knew for a fact this kid had the strength of an ox. There was no way he couldn't carry a guy who barely weighed 130 pounds. This was pure revenge for keeping my relationship a secret from him. Leaning against Elena, I expected it to be torture, but the reality was quite the opposite. She was soft, and she carried a faint, ethereal scent of jasmine. Her presence was naturally relaxing, and it made me want to cry. If I had known it would come to this, I never would have let my unhinged personality run wild at the office. Now, my internet soulmate was right in front of me, and I didn't dare confess. When we reached my door, Elena set me down. Leo, you take care of him. I'm heading home. Don't, Andy. Leo pleaded. You don't understand. When Ryan gets drunk, he's terrifying. He starts crawling and screeching like a monkey, climbing all over the place. I can't handle him alone. Just help me get him into the bedroom, and I'll go whip up some hangover soup. Ignoring Elena's bewildered expression, Leo swiped my keycard and swung the door open. Elena looked at my unconscious form, her face a mask of frost. So this man really is a total idiot, her inner voice muttered. She seemed to view me as a ticking time bomb. After a long pause, she spoke up. Leo, I really don't think this is a good idea. There's still so much work at the office. Huh? What did you say? Before Leo could finish, Dumpling, my Shiba Inu, lunged at him. All right. Dumpling, your big brother is wasted. Let him sleep. I'll play with you in a second. Annie, did you say something about work? Elena stood at the threshold, her eyes locked onto Dumpling, who was wagging his tail like a maniac. She went silent for a long time. The stock prices, actually, never mind. Just get him inside. Wait. Why did her voice sound like she was smiling? Even the way she helped carry me became much gentler. I broke into a cold sweat, desperately trying to recall any incriminating details I might have shared. Dumpling had never appeared in our video calls. Besides, all Shiba Inus looked the same, right? There was no way she'd recognize him. Elena laid me on the bed, personally pulled off my shoes, and tucked me in. I strained my ears, trying to catch her thoughts, but I couldn't hear a single thing. Why was this ability so glitchy? She stood perfectly still by the bed, watching me. Dumpling looked back and forth between us, with his tiny eyes before finally deciding to rub his head against Elena's leg. I panicked, terrified she might kick him away. I was just about to crack an eye open when her thoughts finally flickered back to life. So cute. I let out a mental sigh of relief. Then her inner voice chimed again. He's so incredibly cute. I wanted to keep listening, but Elena turned and slipped out of the bedroom. The moment she left, the tension drained from my body, and a wave of exhaustion hit me. In a haze of semi-consciousness, I felt someone gently feeding me spoonfuls of warm hangover soup. I let out a weary sigh. Leo, this is too bitter. Give me a coconut candy. The hand feeding me the soup paused for a heartbeat. When I opened my mouth again, a coconut candy was pressed against my lips. In my dazed state, I felt my tongue brush against the person's fingertips as I took it. The sweetness bloomed in my mouth, and I settled back into the pillow with a satisfied hum, my eyes still tightly shut. You're a real one, brother. Remember to help me file for leave tomorrow. I've been living in a constant state of anxiety lately. I didn't hear a reply. I just curled up in the blanket and drifted into a deep sleep. I spent the next few days holed up at home. Eventually, I logged into my secondary account, half expecting to see a flood of friend requests from my internet lover. Instead, there wasn't a single notification. A hollow feeling settled in my chest. But then I remembered my internet lover was Elena. She was a high society heiress. I had the audacity to delete her. For all I knew, she had already moved on to someone new. Wait, what day is it today? To avoid crossing paths with Elena, I intended to extend my leave. But a message in the company group chat gave me pause. Today is an auspicious day. Anyone who shows up to work gets triple pay. The group chat, usually a ghost town, erupted instantly. I'm already at my desk. It's not about the money. I just live for the grind. Zhao even had the gall to tag me. Ryan, you just stay home and rest. I'll take that triple pay off your hands. The goddess of wealth won't be mad, right? That snide remark infuriated me so much I bolted straight to the office. The moment I sat down, I made it clear, no one was going to stop me from claiming my triple-time minimum wage. As I was browsing the web to kill time, Elena kept walking past my desk. Just as I was about to lose my cool and ask her what she was playing at, she summoned me into her office. She sat behind her mahogany desk, her expression unreadable, yet there was a flicker of expectation in her eyes. Ryan, do you know why I called you in here? I shook my head. You don't? Oh, don't tell me you don't want your triple pay? Even if I come in late and leave early, I muttered, you can cut the bonus, but don't you dare touch my base salary. The brief spark of anticipation in Elena's eyes vanished, replaced by sheer helplessness. I strained to listen for her inner thoughts, but the ability was failing me again. Elena stood up and began walking toward me, step by deliberate step. She got so close I could hear the rhythm of her breathing. To our side were the vertical blinds, Any colleague walking by could easily catch a glimpse of the scene inside. Elena leaned in, her voice a sultry, mesmerizing silk against my ear. Do you have any idea why I said today was such an auspicious day? I was so tense my toes curled in my shoes. My mind was spinning like a windmill. If she was asking what made today important, the only thing I could recall was that today was supposed to be our wedding anniversary in the game we played. But ever since I realized my digital sweetheart was Elena, I had considered the bond broken and deleted the app entirely. Surely she couldn't be talking about that, right? Besides, I was the one who had practically nagged her into being my in-game partner back then. Seeing me stammer and hesitate, Elena gritted her teeth. For a fleeting second, her eyes even shimmered with a hint of grievance. Ryan, it seems you really only care about the money. Just as I was about to protest, the door was flung open. Elena, who is this man? A guy named Dustin stormed in, physically wedging himself between Elena and me to push us apart. Who are you? Do you have any idea that today is the day Elena and I make our relationship public? Dustin stood before me, head to toe in luxury brands, looking every bit the pampered heir to a massive fortune. I immediately raised my hands, signaling that I hadn't touched a single hair on Elena's head. My apologies, young master. Elena just wanted me to rehearse with her. She said she wanted to see how you should hold her later, so everyone could get a clear view of her beautiful face. Perhaps my explanation was too absurd, because Elena looked far from pleased. What are you doing here, Dustin? She snapped. And don't you dare insult people in my company. Especially not him. Dustin, the high and mighty heir, actually looked like he was about to cry after being treated so coldly. If I hadn't shown up, I never would have caught you sneaking around with this little, pretty boy. Pretty boy? Is he talking about me? I immediately stepped closer to Dustin and explained in a low, humble voice. Master Dustin, you've truly misunderstood. A man like me? Elena would have to be blind to show any interest in me. Dustin gave me a once-over. At least you know your place. He turned back to Elena. Our parents said that tonight we are officially announcing our engagement. I wanted no part of their drama, so I turned to slip away. But I could feel her gaze burning a hole in my back, making my scalp tingle. Ryan, are you really just going to leave like that? Elena's voice sounded heartbreakingly frail. I immediately caught her drift and did her a favor by pulling the blinds shut for their privacy. Before stepping out, I gave her an encouraging look. Good luck, boss. Win over young Master Dustin, and the whole company will be eating high-end hot pot for a year. Once I was outside the office, the fake smile I had put on for Dustin withered away into genuine disappointment. So, the auspicious day Elena mentioned was because of him. I slumped over my desk, feeling utterly hollow. Naturally, Zhao saw his chance to stir the pot. Ryan, look at you, looking all soul-crushed. I bet the boss gave you the scolding of a lifetime, didn't she? See that? Dustin just went in. He's the CEO's true destiny, a real heir to a massive fortune, Zhao sneered. I shot back with a yawn. Oh, luxury heirs and pedigree. How fancy. Too bad, I have zero ambition. I just want to live my life in peace and be as lazy as humanly possible. But the constant buzzing of those human mosquitoes was starting to ruin my web surfing flow. I decided then and there, I was quitting. I was clearly rotten wood that couldn't be carved, and I was perfectly fine with that. That evening, I met up with my best friend, Leo. He looked at me with pure exasperation. Ryan, for the love of God, where is that legendary online backbone of yours? Use those fighting skills in real life. I clung to Leo's leg like a lifeline. Brother, didn't you say that if I ever quit, you'd have my back? Leo scratched his head. Wait, don't put words in my mouth. Under the weight of my relentless nagging, Leo began to break it down for me. Look, we're brothers, right? You've hung out around my parents plenty of times, haven't you? I nodded. And my aunt and I are family. So, you two are bound to cross paths eventually, right? I nodded again. If that's the case, instead of sneaking around and waiting to get caught, why not just come clean? At least that way, you might survive with your head still attached. My eyes widened. Is it really that serious? You have no idea, Leo said. My aunt takes her feelings very seriously. My grandfather has been trying to force her into a marriage alliance with the Song family, but she keeps refusing because of some internet boyfriend. And that boyfriend is you. Persuaded by Leo's logic, I decided I would quit first, then confess. At worst, I'd take the savings I'd scraped together over the years and go into hiding. But before I could even draft a resignation letter, Elena announced a company team-building trip, hiking in the outskirts. The location was a famous resort where tickets cost a small fortune. I immediately pivoted. I'll quit after the trip. When the bus pulled up to the trailhead, Dustin was already there, waiting like a loyal golden retriever. "Elena, if you get tired later, I can carry you," he said, stepping close to her with an eager smile. I was busy calculating how to make a quick buck during the hike when I realized someone was approaching me. Beneath my innocent, wide-eyed gaze, Elena let out a soft cough. "Hey, do you have any water?" Of course. A customer had arrived. Without hesitation, I whipped a bottle of mineral water out of my backpack. Ignoring Dustin's dagger-like glare, I handed the bottle to her with my most professional, corporate-grade smile. Elena seemed dazed by the sudden warmth of my grin. She was about to say something when she looked down and saw the QR code for payment already in my other hand. "Boss, you know how it is. This is a tourist trap. Prices are steep."
Ding.
Alipay received. $10. Once the money cleared, my smile grew even more radiant. "If you want anything else to eat, just come find me." The realization hit her then. I was only smiling at her because I wanted her money. Elena's face grew even colder. She tilted her head back and drained half the bottle in a single, aggressive swig. Clutching the empty plastic in her hand, she didn't say a word, eventually tossing it toward a nearby trash bin with a sharp flick of her wrist. But just a few minutes later, I caught her out of the corner of my eye. She was actually reaching back into the bin to retrieve the bottle. Her expression flickered between wanting to throw it away and a strange hesitation before she finally decided to tuck it into her bag. Seeing that brought a phantom tear to my eye. What a thoughtful woman, I thought. She doesn't even want to burden the park cleaners with extra trash. As we continued the hike, my business flourished. I treated every colleague with the same professional fairness, selling snacks to anyone with a craving. Eventually, even the great Master Dustin lowered his guard. After all, in his eyes, I was just an honest laborer with no time for romance. "Hey, Ryan. I'm actually a little thirsty too. Can I?" "Of course you can." I whipped out a bottle. "Master Dustin for you. I'll give it to you at half price." Dustin took his first sip, his eyes lighting up with surprise. "This is actually good." "Sorry, man, I totally misjudged you. You only charged me $3 for this. You're a good guy." In his twisted logic, since I charged Elena $10 but only charged him $30, there was no way I could be interested in her. I took the money, maintaining a stoic, hard-working facade. "I just want to make sure everyone has food when they're hungry. I'm just looking for a small profit. I don't have any hidden agendas." Dustin now saw me as a saint and, conversely, began to despise Zhao. Zhao kept trying to hover around Elena, but he was repeatedly driven back by her increasingly glacial expression. By the time we reached the summit, I was panting like a marathon runner. I slumped onto a bench, staring at my bank balance and grinning at the sunset with pure satisfaction. While everyone else was busy taking aesthetic photos, I started to worry. My backpack was still half full of unsold snacks. Lugging all of this back down the mountain would be a nightmare. Without me noticing, Elena had sat down beside me. I can help you carry that." Still wearing her mask of cold indifference, she reached out and tried to lift my backpack. I bolted upright and grabbed it back. "Don't. This is my lifeblood." Perhaps my reaction was too violent. Elena let go, causing me to stumble back a few steps. My foot caught on a rock and snap, I felt a sharp jolt.
Ow.
Damn it. Elena immediately rushed over to inspect the injury. "I'm sorry, Ryan. I just wanted to help with the load. I didn't mean any harm." In that moment, I saw a flash of genuine panic in her eyes. It was strange. She was a ruthless capitalist, yet here she was, showing such deep empathy for a mere worker like me. She began to gently massage my ankle, her touch so light, I almost missed the way she had just called me Little Ryan. Because of my sprained ankle, the entire group's descent was forced into a crawl. Elena instructed the group to head down first, while she helped me find a local clinic to dress my wound. I was in so much pain, I was on the verge of tears. Seeing my pathetic state, Dustin burst into a loud, mocking laugh. "Hey, little buddy, look at that. A workplace accident." "It's a workplace accident, Elena," Dustin continued, his tone shifting abruptly. "Did you buy insurance for employees like Ryan? Because if you didn't, that's a serious violation." His sudden change in attitude left me completely bewildered. The descent was much easier than the climb, but as I leaned heavily against Elena for support, a familiar sigh echoed in my mind. Ryan really is a total blockhead. Wait, what? Was I hearing her inner voice again? Before I could process it, her thoughts continued to mumble. Ryan is so warm. I wish we could stay like this forever. I like him so much. She called me Ryan in her head, the way she did online. Had she already figured out who I was? When we reached the clinic, Elena stepped outside to coordinate the rest of the trip for the team. I immediately called Leo. When he heard my ankle was swollen like a pig's trotter, he practically wheezed with laughter. Stop laughing. I think my cover is blown, I hissed. Leo turned serious instantly. What? For real? Yeah. And for some reason, Master Dustin has done a complete 180 and is acting all weird with me. Leo's speed was legendary. Driven by the urge to hear the gossip firsthand, he drove straight to the clinic. What happened? Spill it. I gave him a cheeky grin. Well, I made a decent chunk of change on this hiking trip. Leo reached out and flicked my forehead hard. You idiot. If you just make my aunt fall for you, forget about pocket change. Her entire fortune would be yours. I sighed, telling him it wasn't that simple. But I kept one detail to myself. It seemed Elena already had feelings for me. As for her inner voice, I had finally figured out the rule. I could only hear her thoughts when we were in close physical proximity. That evening, the team gathered in a private dining room for dinner. Since I was on medication, I couldn't touch a drop of alcohol and sat in the corner nursing a glass of juice. Zhao was in high spirits, constantly trying to toast Elena and pester her with drinks. But why did it feel like she was looking at me with a pouting, aggrieved expression? Dustin and Leo, who were old acquaintances, kept staring at me as if they wanted to drill a hole through my head. Leo looked at me with pure exasperation. I'm telling you, man, Leo whispered. If you don't make a move, someone is going to snatch my aunt right out from under you. Dustin chimed in, surprisingly supportive. Exactly. This young master has already stepped aside for you, so what are you hesitating for? A guy like Zhao? You could take him down with one punch. It turned out Dustin had completely given up on his pursuit. Their engagement was supposed to be a cold-blooded business arrangement. What does business marriage mean? Roughly, I don't like you, but for the sake of the company, I can tolerate your existence. However, ever since Elena flatly rejected him, Dustin had been obsessed with finding out exactly how he was inferior to this mysterious internet boyfriend. Thus, Dustin utilized a bit of his financial muscle and discovered the truth. Elena's online sweetheart was me. At the exact moment he received this intel, I was standing there like a fool, smiling at the sunset with my hands full of snack money. Dustin was still holding the water bottle I'd sold him. Eat a man's food and you become soft-hearted. Take a man's gift and you become short-handed. That's exactly how it went. I'm not even going to bother competing with you, Dustin muttered. He held his head high, shooting me a haughty, knowing look. Fine, I'm going for it, I thought. Seeing that everyone was sufficiently tipsy, I prepared to stand up and strip away Elena's cold facade once and for all. But before I could move, someone blocked my path. It was my colleague, Bella, clutching a bouquet of flowers. She looked at me with an expression that was half bashful and half seductive. Ryan, my eyes have always been on you. Ryan, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? In the future, you can handle the breadwinning, and I'll handle being beautiful as a flower. We'll surely live a happy, carefree life together. What is with this delusional confidence? Sorry, I said flatly. I already like someone else. That one sentence sent Bella spiraling into an immediate meltdown. Stop pretending. If you don't like me, why do you keep sneaking glances at me at the office? I'm so beautiful. It's only natural for you to desire me. I'm giving you the chance to have me right now. I almost gagged. Zhao stepped in to play the peacemaker. Hey, I think Bella is a catch. Maybe you should consider it, Ryan. I took a deep breath. Consider my foot. Get lost, both of you. Why don't you guys try acting a little less? Maybe act as much as the measly salary you're paid. Bella, insulted by my words, grew even more hysterical. She reached out, trying to grab my arm. Ryan, you're just saying that because you're angry, right? I don't believe you. Let's go outside and talk privately. Dustin and Leo were about to intervene when someone else grabbed Bella's wrist first. Bella was sent sprawling to the floor, crashing straight into Zhao. Elena stood there, towering over them, blocking me from their view. Her form-fitting dress accentuated every curve of her dangerous silhouette as she shook with rage. "Who gave you the audacity to think you could have Ryan?" Elena's voice was like a whip. "If you don't want to work here anymore, pack your things and get out of my sight immediately." Terrified by the sudden explosion from the Ice Queen, Bella burst into tears on the spot. The rest of the room stood frozen, eyes wide, breath held. Not a single person dared to utter a word. Facing Elena's intense gaze, I swallowed hard, the sound audible in the silence. "Help, what do I do? Save me. I think I've terrified Ryan." I heard Elena's inner voice again. Within a split second, she bit her lip, gripped my hand firmly, and practically dragged me out of the room. "I don't care anymore. Even if he's scared, I just need to make things clear right now." Panicked, I looked back and waved frantically at Leo and Dustin.
"Help me."
But the two of them just watched us with expressions of pure, unadulterated gossip-hungry glee. Leo took charge of the situation with practiced ease. All right, nothing to see here. Everyone keep partying. Oh, and about those two, since they've been fired, I'll take care of their final pay on behalf of my aunt." Dustin patted Leo on the shoulder. "Not bad, Leo. You're finally growing up." Leo grinned proudly. "Of course I am." Meanwhile, in the back of the car, Elena was leaning in close to me, her voice tinged with a hint of grievance. "So, if I hadn't arrived in time, would you have said yes to her?" "Say yes to what? You know I don't even like Bella." Elena looked as if a massive weight had been lifted from her shoulders, but she still turned her head away stubbornly. "You're not allowed to like anyone else. If you do, I'll be very sad." Under the glow of the streetlights passing by the window, I saw her eyes grow red, the corners glistening with unshed tears. I asked softly, "So, when exactly did you realize it was me?" Elena leaned gently against me, her voice turning tender. "Do you remember the time I took you home when you were drunk?" I pouted, intentionally looking away. "The time you called me a total idiot?" Elena immediately turned my face back to hers. Looking me straight in the eye, she apologized without a moment's hesitation. "Ryan, I was wrong. At that time, I didn't know my internet boyfriend was actually you. Usually, if Leo asked me to take someone home, I would have refused instantly. But, for some reason, I agreed. When I saw you drunk like that, my heart skipped a beat. It felt exactly like the first time you agreed to be my boyfriend online." She paused, her gaze softening even more. And then, I met Dumpling. My eyes went wide. But I never show Dumpling in any of my photos. She let out a mysterious, seductive laugh that made it impossible for me to look away. "That's a secret. Unless..." Elena trailed off, leaving the sentence hanging. She just looked at me with those affectionate eyes, the Ice Queen melting into a girl in love. But in my head, I could hear exactly what she was waiting for. "Unless Ryan gives me a kiss." My husband is so cute. His lips look so soft. They must be so easy to kiss.
"No."
I have to control myself. He likes elegant, dignified girls like me. I suddenly recalled a conversation we had early in our online relationship when we asked about each other's ideal types. I told her I liked elegant, sophisticated city women. She told me she liked puppy-like guys, cute, sweet, and obedient. And so, as internet lovers, we both slowly sculpted our personas to fit the other's ideal. That was exactly why I had been so afraid to confess. I was terrified Elena would see my true, unpolished self and leave me. And if the love died, my job would surely follow.
But now?
I had made up my mind. I leaned down, and my lips met her crimson ones. Elena was wearing the perfume I had gifted her, its scent light and airy. In her eyes, I saw my own reflection, gazing back at her with a look of pure infatuation. She wrapped her arms around my neck, pulling me closer to deepen the kiss. In that moment, her mind held only one singular thought. I'm so happy. My husband loves me. The next day, Elena went public with our relationship. As the heiress of the Liu family, she took to Weibo and introduced me to the media. Within hours, the entire internet was buzzing about the wealthy socialite's new romance. Facing a barrage of criticism from anti-fans, Elena posted a simple retort. There are so many rich people in the world. Why would he bother scamming anyone else but me? It's obvious he only has eyes for me. One afternoon, I posted a photo of Dumpling on social media with the caption, Dumpling got a new outfit. Almost instantly, someone liked the post. I don't usually check my fans' profiles, but for some reason, I clicked on this one. The profile was bare, following only 2 people. One was Leo. I didn't even have to guess who the other was. I started checking every social media platform, even the obscure ones. Sure enough, on every single site, there was a secret Finsta belonging to Elena, quietly lurking and following my every move. As the online chatter grew louder, the Liu family could no longer remain silent. Elena's parents requested a meeting. When I finally met Mrs. Liu, she was draped in a suit so heavily encrusted with gems I was nearly blinded by the sparkle. I braced myself for a lecture, even rehearsing the classic movie scene in my head where she offers me $1 million to stay away from her daughter. But a second later, her thoughts drifted into my mind. I hope this outfit doesn't embarrass my daughter. Oh, she really has great taste in men. His looks are exactly my type. Mr. Liu, the patriarch, gently placed his hand over his wife's and spoke with forced calm. Internally, however, he was panicking. Good grief, I knew this haircut was a disaster. I need to ask the kid where he gets his hair done later. I glanced over at Elena. She looked as composed as ever, but her inner voice was screaming, I want to hug my husband so bad. We didn't kiss nearly enough in the car earlier. I couldn't believe it. I could hear the inner thoughts of the entire Liu family. Maybe I really was the chosen one. The meeting went perfectly. Elena's parents wanted to meet mine to pick an auspicious wedding date. Elena, meanwhile, insisted that I move in with her immediately. Her official excuse was to take care of her husband, but her heart told a different story. I need to keep him safe from girls like Bella. 2 months later, we were married. This is the end of the episode. What do you think about this episode? Please leave your comments in the comment section. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.